What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew. This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today, Lions Talk Live. And as you guys probably know, round one of the NFL draft is in the books. We're all through it. Hey, there's going to be some winners. There's going to be some losers. There's going to be a lot of debate whether the Lions could have went this way, that way, or every other way. We're going to dive into that. As you probably know, since it's Friday, it's about the halfway through the show. We're going to have Kurt the Hitman Steele coming on in. We're going to talk to him about it. We've got some other news. If you stayed up late enough to watch the Brad Holmes presser, hey, the thoughts about the Jameson Williams being traded, that was put to rest. He said, yeah, that's not going to happen. Now, he wasn't specific if they had any, I guess you say, conversations with teams about that, but he did come out and say, yeah, Jameson Williams isn't going anywhere. He's putting that to rest. But again, he was non-committal about whether or not they had conversations about it. What do you think about the Detroit Lions pick? There's going to be some that love Tyleik Williams. There's going to be some that hate him. There's going to be some that probably stuck somewhere in between. We're going to get into it, try to break it on down. Was the right move made last night? There were a lot of good players still on the board and a lot of probably surprise trades. Everything that you're normally associating with the NFL draft, well, that's what pretty much went down last night. All right, before we get into the main topic of the day, before we get into the 5 headlines now, you all know the deal. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that march to get on up to 13,000, 600 subs. So if you can help out with that, it'd be great. We're about 40 subs away. So, hey, just a stone's throw away. Also, if you have a half second of time, reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button, hit all the buttons while you're at it. Try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Hey, with all that done, one last thing to throw at you. If you're considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. If you're in the rest of the continental United States, I can still work with you, even help you find the right property, find an agent to handle, showing the houses, all that stuff for you, live and in person. So go ahead and call me. You can be anywhere in the continental United States. 269-998-2384. I do cover the state of Michigan, though, and quite literally the entire state of Michigan. So reach on out. We'll save you some time, money. Make sure you don't get worked over by anybody involved in the process. All right, with all that done, set out of the way, let's get the show rocking and rolling and going and get into 5 headlines now. I'm going to say this. We're probably all going to have to reevaluate the Detroit Lions defensive line. We'll talk about this during the main topic of the day, but I think there was a tell, at least in my opinion. We'll see what the Duke Crew has to say, why the Lions went with who they went with. So again, we'll break that down here momentarily. All right, 5 headlines now. Detroit Lions Brad Holmes shuts down Jameson Williams trade rumors. SB Nation, story by Jeremy Rusman. I got to spend a lot of time on this one. I think when the news came out that potentially Jameson Williams could be traded on out of here, most, I would say, maybe 70 to 80% of us thought, yeah, this is not going to happen. Why would you give up on a generational talent like Jameson Williams? Generational is the fact that you couldn't replicate in a lab what this kid can do. I get some of you don't like his end zone celebrations or other stuff, but you know what? I think those are coachable things, educational things, learning opportunities. I mean, really, however you want to word it. If you don't want him doing that kind of stuff in the Detroit Lions, just talk to him about it. I doubt if he's going to fight you on it. Been wrong before. But this, Jeremy Rusman with SB Nation, amongst a gajillion other reporters, stayed up for the press conference. I didn't. I was pretty beat. I was like, you know what? Anything they're going to talk about, I'll get to it in the morning. But one of the things that did come up, and if you watch the presser, And Brad Holmes does come out and say it's something they never entertained. He does not answer, I should say, when asked, were you ever in conversations with a team about potentially trading Jameson Williams? He doesn't answer that one. He just says it's something they never entertained. To me, I think it's pretty much like we all talked about. Could they have listened to an offer? Sure. Did they ever really have any kind of real thought about trading Jameson Williams? Probably not. And I mean, but hey, if you're going to listen, somebody's going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Hey, we'll give you the next 5 first-round picks and then give you our next 21 second-round picks. You might listen to that offer, but I think we all know that's probably not going to happen. Good to hear, because Jameson Williams, he's been showing up. He's been getting better every year since this draft. We all get his rookie year was mostly lost to the ACL injury. But what's he do? He does run block. He supports his teammates. He supports other Detroit sports teams. And you know what? He seems to be embracing the community more and more. I think he loves it here. I think he loves the Detroit Lions fan base. He loves Detroit, the whole shebang-a-bang. And I don't see him leaving anytime soon. We'll see if I'm right or wrong on that. All right, 2025 NFL Draft, Day 2 mock draft following the first round. USA Today story by Jeff Risdon of DraftWire. I need to get him back on the show. It has been a hot minute. All right, so we'll speed through this. I'm not going to go through every team. We're just going to focus on the Detroit Lions. But Jeff Risdon has the Lions going Afemi Oladio, edge out of UCLA with the number 60 pick. Would you be happy with that? Would you be sad with that? I actually wouldn't mind it. I would not mind it at all. If you guys remember my the final Do Crew Lions Talk Live mock draft, however you want to put it, Lions, you're gonna see some similarities. At least if I can find it here, I think I still have it. I had us, nope, not trading. Not going to go with that. But I had us going with Kenneth Grant as a defensive tackle with our first pick. I do want to say I did think about Williams there, but you know what? Grant being the local kid, I went with that probably to a bit. At 60, I had us going to Tate Ratledge, so offensive line. We'll see if that holds water with the Detroit Lions. But I could see what Jeff Risdon is saying there as far as going with an edge. Now, in the third round, let me go all the way to the bottom of the screen. That's where he has us taking, Jordan Hancock, cornerback from Ohio State. I don't know, man. We'll see. You are going to have a lot of people speculating what's going on. Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan. Remember, just feels like just a few weeks ago, he was being mocked by a lot of different people as being a top 10 pick. Some even as high, I want to say, is number 5 or 6. But right now, Jeff Risdon has the Bears taking him at 39. I know there's a lot of speculation about him. We'll get into him during the one of the 5 headlines now. But what do you guys think of Will Johnson? There will be some people, in fact, some people even blew up my phone last night or this morning saying the Lions should have taken him over Williams. But you know what? I think the Lions are sticking to the lines of scrimmage first, then moving on to other areas. All right, let's get back to the 5 headlines now. Lions star Jared Goff supporting Pistons in playoff battle with Knicks. Pistons on SI, story by Kevin McCormick. Not a big surprise that other Lions Lions representation support the Detroit Pistons. I would say this, for the most part, Detroit pro sports seem to really have a brotherhood with each other, supporting one another. There was a video coming out yesterday, people asking different questions of the Detroit Lions players as they walked in the facilities. A reporter did talk to Jared Goff about the Pistons, and he did go on for a minute showing his support and care for him. Unfortunately, as you guys know, they did not win last night. That being as it may, though, the fact that the Pistons are back in the playoffs actually looked like they belong there. And you could see the youth getting exposed a little bit, and this is Lions Talk Live, not Pistons Talk Live. But at any rate, it's good to see that the continued friendship between the different organizations. All right, Lions rumored to be among teams contacted about Jalen Ramsey trade. Athlon Sports, John Vicario. This came out yesterday. Apparently, we were one of 5 teams or 4 teams that apparently had some conversations with the Miami Dolphins about picking up, Jalen Ramsey. And I think we all get it. Jalen Ramsey is a dang good cornerback. I don't know if he is what he once was. I still think he's pretty dang good, though. I talked to the Sarge, Tony Libretto, about it. I talked to a number of you guys who messaged me about it. I didn't really want to go on air about it. I was like, deal with this in the morning. Could the Lions pull the trigger on them? Sure. Will some team pull the trigger? Probably. Miami Dolphins, we all get it. They need cap space. They need relief. They need this, that, the other thing. They've got needs. How about that? and getting rid of Jalen Ramsey at this point seems like a possibility for him. Would the Lions really be a fit there? I'm not so sure. Somebody is going to have to pay. I think he's owed about $21 million. So are the Miami Dolphins going to pay the majority of that for the upcoming year? What would you really give up to acquire him? Because, if you're going to acquire him, you're probably going to have to pay him to keep him for a while. I'm sure he still has 2 or 3 good, solid years left, especially – I know I was talking to, who was it yesterday? One of you guys about it. Maybe it was Hutch Jr. maybe about it. I said, maybe if you bring him in and have him do the Ife Melifanu role where he's kind of roaming around, being a star player, weak side linebacker on some plays, strong side safety or whatever. I mean, you get it. He's all over the place. That would seem ideal for him. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's what the Rams had him do during the Super Bowl run. Would the Lions really go get him? I guess I would say no until I see it, but maybe if I see them actually pull the trigger on it, maybe for like a 6th or 7th round pick, I guess I get to see that happen. If he did add him to the mix, though, that Lions secondary would start looking pretty dang scary. I personally don't see it happening, but who knows? Been wrong before. All right, last of the 5 headlines down. We did briefly talk about this earlier. Let's see, 2025 draft. Why Michigan star cornerback Will Johnson fell out of the first round, CBS Sports. It sounds like a lot of people across the league still or have some questions, I should say, about his knee. At the end of the day, if you're not available, a lot of people don't want to put money into you. Johnson was CBS Sports' #1 cornerback in this class, but Albert Breer of SI.com reported earlier this week that he has a knee issue that's been flagged by teams. The knee issue is not supposed to affect him in the short term, but his longevity is the question. On top of his continued issues, Johnson missed time due to his shoulder and toe injuries. And last season, then a hamstring injury held him out of Michigan's pro day. So I get it. That's a lot of injuries for teams to digest. I have no doubt somebody's going to take him. I don't know how effective he's going to be in the long term for the NFL. I also understand because of those injury question marks at this point, why somebody's not going to invest a first-round pick. Obviously, at this point, they're not going to invest a first-round pick in him. What would you say, though, Duke Crew? There's no doubt about his talent. There's no doubt about what he brings to the table. But if you're not available, you're the next Broderick Martin. Would you feel comfortable as Detroit Lions fans taking him with a second-round pick? And you'd probably have to trade up to get him, I would think, at this point. Or do you just say, let him go to somewhere else? I'm guessing if I'm the Detroit Lions, you've got enough injury history last year alone with the Detroit Lions defense. You're probably leaving him alone unless you get him in like the 3rd or 4th round or something like that. But I personally don't see him falling that far. But you know what? I don't always know everything. All right, with all that done, set out of the way, let's get the show on over to the next segment. And as you know, that is the main topic of the day. He is a big, massive man. Yes, he is. He is 6'3.5". Man, depending on who's running the weights at that point or scales at that point, he's somewhere between 225 pounds and 240 pounds. Williams has superpowers, and keep that straight. If you watch his video, he is a massive dude. He's got wheels. He's got great hand placement, and I love his power with his hand placement. You watch him, he is going to be able to shut down the run, especially next to a Lee McNeil, let's see, Aiden Hutchinson, and whoever else you put out there. Let's be honest, Lions are going to have some real stuff there. But I do think this is perhaps a tell that the Lions might not feel that the defensive end position is as big a need as the interior defensive line position. I think there's a real big thing here with Tyleik Williams. Let's just focus on him for a moment. I think right now we're all going to say he's probably starting until Ali McNeil's back. He's starting next to DJ Reader. Maybe Lopez or somebody else comes in. And I think your other end, and this would probably make Pierce in the comments section and a few others happy, I think Levi Onwuzurike is your big end or your rush end opposite Aiden Hutchinson. So we'll see if that shakes out. But you start thinking at that point, you look at the Lions defensive line, and it is a massive unit. Tyleik Williams is somebody who's going to be around for at least the next 5 years because of the 5-year rookie deal and the 5th-year option, unless he really doesn't pan out. But it gives you one of the deepest defensive lines as far as interior defensive lines in the league. You go through a laundry list of people that potentially could be in there for Lions. Lee McNeil, he's going to miss some times. We all get that. DJ Reader, he's in. Williams is now in. Lopez is in. Who knows about Broderick Martin? But if there's somebody sweating after last night, unfortunately, it's probably Broderick Martin because you know what? this is probably an indication the Lions don't see him jumping up, unless I guess they're going to play him over at the big end position, maybe behind Davenport or Levi Onwuzurike. But the Lions have brought in a lot of different guys this season. And this kid, you know what? Like I said, in my last mock draft, I had either him or Grant. I went simply with Grant because he was the Michigan product. I knew him a little bit better from tape and stuff and watching some of the games here and there with guys. But this guy, I get why some people would have raised eyebrows about why the Lions took him at 28. I also could say find a science lab and put this kid in it, and you probably got an S on his chest and a cape or maybe a Captain America shield because he's pretty hard to replicate, and it's not just his speed, it's not just his power. You look at his personality, and I know the Lions spend a lot of time on this. I don't know all of them that well. I can only do little breakdowns on 10, 15 minutes of video, and that's not the same. It's not the same as being in a room and talking to people, but I think there's a lot of good thoughts about him here. There'll be Lions fans that don't like the pick. I get it. I'm not here to tell you that you should not feel that way, but when asked about his lack of stats, a lot of people just said, hey, look how they rotate. They asked him also to play the bull rush mode more often than not, so he's going to get double teamed. But the fact that more often than not, if you don't double team this kid, he's getting pressure up the middle. And what do quarterbacks hate? I don't care what kind of quarterback you are. I don't care if you're Jared Goff or, I don't know, Michael Vick. No quarterback likes anybody coming up the middle in their face because it blows up the play faster and faster. I'm going to anticipate right now when he gets on the field, his rookie year, probably 60% of offensive linemen will be able to take him one-on-one. Now, maybe I'm wrong with that, but probably by the middle portion of the season, you're probably going to only see maybe 40% of offensive linemen handle him on one-on-one, which means 60% of the time you probably need to double team that guy. If you're double teaming him, you're double teaming Hutch, that's a problem because you know what? You can only double team so many people unless you have nobody going out in routes. What say you do, crew? I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to look at the list of people that said, hey, this guy was still available, that guy was still available. We did talk about in the final Lions Talk Live mock draft. In my opinion, the Lions were going to trade down once or twice before they made the selection. It looks like that nearly happened, but as you guys all know, the Rams beat us to it. I want to say somebody else beat us to it. There were two teams literally right before we picked that ended up doing trades, and I knew once I saw the first one fly, our chance of trading now went down exponentially. Hey, James Pierce Jr. got picked up, and then Jackson Dart got picked up, so that kind of killed our chances. Are you happy or are you sad this morning? Where do you think we go from here? My personal opinion, then we'll get to you guys to see what you have to say. I like the pick. I think this organization wants to keep the offensive line, defensive line strong, and build out from there. If you win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, you control the game. So my anticipation is here, round 2. I still think we're going probably offensive line, bringing somebody in, and then round 3s and 4, I think there are some players of interest. Now, that doesn't mean we couldn't trade up and maybe get a second round pick. And then I know some of you will probably say Josiah Stewart from Michigan. I like the kid. We've talked about him a lot. Lions have, I think they've had like 50 gajillion different interviews, virtually in-person pro day stuff. They clearly like him. I won't be surprised to see if they go after him. If they happen to take him in round 2, would you be sad? I don't think I would, because you look at what they've now done to that line, I would just say they're probably investing some later picks now into that offensive line and building up. Maybe it's an indication that Giovanni Manu or Kobe Sorsdale or somebody else has superseded a lot of their expectations, and they don't view the offensive line as a big issue. All right, we've got about 10, 11 minutes until Kurt the Hitman Steele jumps on over. So I see the Do Crew comment section is wide awake this morning. So let me scroll on over to it real quick. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Also, hit that thumbs up button. JDC, morning all, back at you. Bo, good morning. After Do Crew, did we plug a leak last night? Woo! I don't know about a leak, but how about this? A strength might have got stronger. And you guys will have to let me know. I think this is an indication that the Lions don't think the pass rush is a big issue. They're going to keep that middle of the defensive line dang tough. You think about the defensive tackle position going forward, at least next year for Detroit. Is there a team in the league that has a better one? I don't think so. We've got more depth there than I think we know what to do with. And I also think that means some of those guys are going to slide over on particular downs and play the defensive end opposite Hutch. JDC, when the draft is done, it's back to tick, 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 100%. Shamir, Grand Rising, Do Crew, same to you. And I did get a message from you yesterday. I checked it out, guy. I like him. Let's see if the Lions can go get him, though. Clark, how do we not take Will Johnson? Sounds like just injury concerns about him. Doesn't sound like anybody's concerned that he can't play next year. It's just whether or not you'll be able to get, 3, 4, or 5 or more seasons out of him. Bo, all right, who's next? We'll find out in about 20 hours, something like that. Big Eddie Gray's salutations. Interesting selection as many had Williams going in the second round. He is a massive man in the middle for years to come. To your point, when we all get it with mock drafts. You got to take them with a grain of salt. There was a mock earlier this week. I want to say Peter Schrager's or whatever. The Lions taking Will Johnson at 28. And yes, I get your point. Williams potentially going in the second round. But just because those are the mock drafters' grades doesn't mean that's what the Lions or any NFL team has those kind of grades on them. Detroit D, why not Mike Green? It's just my anticipation there. It's his lack of size. I think the Lions want bigger ends. And, Mike Green, he's going to have to eat more than a few Circle K endorsed hot dogs and Mountain Dews to achieve that. All right, Mike the Marine Gunny, howdy, Dan and Duke Crew. Wow, T. Williams, 330 pounds, ran a 4.6840. That's insane. I trust Brad. Go Lions. Woo! And Gunny, you're not wrong. Like I said, when I started off talking about the main topic today, it would be hard to replicate this dude in a silent slab. And I get defensive tackle positions. It's not going to be super sexy. There aren't going to be people jumping up and down. Wow, they got a defensive tackle. But when you watch the guy, you watch his hand placement, you watch his strength and veracity when he puts people hands on him. He's going to win a lot of battles as a rookie. And I think by year 2 or 3, he's probably going to be, been wrong before, but I think he's going to be an all-pro player. I'm not going to say he's going to get a gold jacket or anything, but to your point, could you even at times put him at the big defensive end? I know I was talking about Levi Onwuzurike there, but let's just say Aleem comes back. You got DJ Reader this year. You got Lopez. Could you put Williams out at the big end and get pressure? I think you can. Detroit D, greetings, sanitation of the Duke Crew. Back at you. Bo, Alik and Aleem, 100%. I like the future there. Shamir, a lot of people are mad we drafted Williams, but it's still a lot of edges left. I just hope we draft Landon Jackson and Haim. Yeah, I think both of them are an options. I get Stewart's an option. To your point, there's a lot of good talent still out there. It might not be the big name guys, but doesn't mean they're not talented. Let's see, Detroit D, Brad ain't cooking nothing right now. No, he's probably sleeping, but let's see what the further game plan is. Let's wait until we get the whole draft done before we say yay, nay, or everything in between. Brett, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew. I wanted trenches, so I'm happy with the pick. Oh, yeah. Well, you want it. You got it. Shamir, Coach, did you get a chance to check out Amin yet? Yeah, I did, man. And, can we get him? I mean, we'll wait and see. I think there's a lot of different interesting possibilities, especially I know in the final Alliance Talk Live mock draft, that's when I had us finally selecting around 3 and 4, basically, our edges. And I thought both guys could play. I like the guy you sent me over, though. Detroit D, the kid better be the second coming of Vince Wilfork. I think, we might not be disappointed with him. Let's go with that. Marcus, good morning. Dan Duku, loved how the fake pundits and Couch Potatoes GMs were totally wrong. Williams was the best player available, according to Holmes, and we eventually replaced DJ Reader when he becomes a free agent in 26. Yeah, I think that's part of the plan. We all talked about there's not a ton of holes on this year's team. So what do? You bring in a player who's going to replace a guy that whose contract's going to be gone. Where we go from here, I think we've got every possibility in the world. Can we go edge? Can we go, offensive line? Can we go receiver? I do suspect we're going to take all the above at some point. It's just a question of when and where. Whatever is the best player that falls to us. At this point, if we select him, you have to believe the scouting department and Brad Holmes have got a pretty good grade on the kid. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. Williams, I was shocked. I figured we could go Grant if we went tackle at that point. I know that's what a lot of people probably thought, Trey. The only thing I can say is why I think everybody likes Grant. I think what you've got in Williams is just a little bit more athleticism. And I think both guys are great. They're going to have good careers. They're both very, very powerful. I just think Williams gives you that a little extra half step, if that makes sense. Detroit D, I'm not happy at all with this pick. Exclamation point. What mobile quarterback will he run down from the backside? We'll find out, man. We will find out. He'll have to collapse the pocket from the middle, I believe. Just greetings, salutations, Duke. Looks like we nearly traded down. Yeah, it does. It does look like it. But some teams got James Pierce Jr. and Dart before our selection. Yeah, correct. once the first domino fell, I think that's what forced the second one. I was hoping maybe one or two more picks would go off the board, and then I thought, man, we would probably get a pretty good trade down. Would we have still got Williams? I don't know, but we probably would have got some extra picks. Pierce, I have to say a lot. All right, there you go. Let's see, Gunny, what do you got? T. Williams can fill Aleem's spot because of his injury. I like the pick. Puts Broderick on the hot seat. Yeah, making this team. He does, man. But if this lights the fire under Broderick to get him there, man, you talk about that defensive line getting even deeper. That's where I think it gets crazy fun for the Lions. Marcus, love how everyone doesn't trust Brad Holmes with his track record of drafting great players. So I'll go with that, Marcus, and good morning. Bo, just say no, Pierce. Bo Booth, I can't say not yet. Exclamation point. I thought today was going to be the day to do that. There you go. Bo, there's always doubters, man, especially if their particular guy wasn't the pick. Yeah, 100%. Pierce, Shamir, excuse me, if he doesn't draft an edge, then I'll get mad, but until then, I'm good. Yeah, and I think you're probably getting it. Is it going to be today or tomorrow? Wait and see. Al, looks like another Brad Holmes classic move. What do you think the grade will be from the national media of that pick? Probably national media, C+, B-, somewhere in that range. I know Micro Mike had a thing up about it, and I thought it was an A, in my opinion, and just it's okay if you have an F on it. In my opinion, an A, because what you're going to do to free up cap next year when DJ Reader departs, you're giving Lee McNeil more time to recover. You don't have to rush him back. And, I know you guys already put in there, he runs a sub 4.7 or whatever, 4.6 something in the 40. There ain't many defensive ends on planet Earth that do that at 330-ish pounds. Drake B. Martin is gone. This confirmed that. Could be true. Marks, what happened to the JMO trade? ? False, fake. These pundits don't know anything. Write stories of off speculation. Probably true. Yeah, 100%. Trying to fill up stuff in the offseason. Pierce, Happy Martin will be gone. I still hope the kid pans out because, you know what? I'd rather see him work out than not. But this probably is a tell that the Lions are a little at least concerned about that possibility. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan the Duker. What a team. What a podcast. Thank you for that. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! What a draft pick. All the above. Good morning, man. JDC, go Lions, go Tigers. Woo! And go to all Detroit sports teams. Pierce Bobuth, it was my position that didn't get addressed. Okay, Shamir, my two sleeper edges are Landon and Amin. Yeah, I like them both. I like Stewart, to be honest, too. Feels like there was somebody else I'm thinking of that was kind of going to be a late round pick that I think had some abilities. I don't know. I can't remember it off the top of my noggin. Let's see. Pierce Davenport cannot be the starter. I don't think he's going to be, but maybe. Who knows? Let's see. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. This continues Brad and Dan's thoughts. Control the lines. You are spot on with that. And good morning. Pierce, Josiah Stewart, hopefully there at 60. I think there's a strong possibility, especially since you've seen some people fall down the draft. Hey, every pick that falls down on the first round that maybe targets interest from other teams probably helps us out a lot. Marcus, who cares about the national media? ? Remember, they hated the Gibbs pick and called it a reach. They did on that. Real quick here, think about how this has impacted the NFL. The fact that nowadays you do see more and more teams going after running backs early in the draft, which for a long time, I think we all get it. The Lions, the NFL as a whole, really didn't value running backs anymore at the higher picks. So we'll see what shakes out. But I think that you're seeing a change happen when it comes to running backs. Not that that has anything to do with it, but yes, the Lions have altered the future. How about that? Pierce, Hutch needs a running mate. I think they get it this weekend. France, that's where I think we go next, Pierce. We've interviewed him a lot. Yes, if you're talking about Stewart out of Michigan, yes. All right, Pierce, I understand planning for life after Reader, but edge is more of a pressing need. All right. I'm guessing the only thing we can say is the Lions either think A, it's not as pressing a need, or B, there's enough guys with similar grades in round 2 and 3, etc. Marcus, don't be surprised we draft a wide receiver today. Holmes has a plan. Could be Devontae Thornton, although I would think today, maybe in the 3rd round. Yeah, could be. Bo, will Stewart last till 60? We'll see. Maybe they would trade up to get him. That's also, a possibility. All right, Big Daz, good morning. Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Exclamation points. Well, that was underwhelming. Long way for nothing. Well, hopefully a year or two from now, we're all jumping up and down saying, man, that was a great pick. Great pick. All right, guys, it is about that time to bring over the man, the myth, the legend, the man who sits on top of the mountain that we all climb up to get the great wisdom from. You know him. You love him. He's the host of the most. He's the host of the Boss Up, Ball Up podcast. Let's go get us Kurt the Hitman Steele. Hitman, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. Hey, what's going on, everyone? What up to the Duke Crew? I see the SOL crowd is live and well this morning in the chat, all over the place, all over social media. Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
Let's jump into it. Tyleik Williams. He's a big dude. He's a fast dude. Were you surprised we took him? And B, what are your thoughts on him?
I was a little surprised at first. I started looking at the tape, right? And I started doing some research on this guy. I'm looking at this guy like, yeah, that guy looks like he's on the roster already. He looks like look pretty much like Aleem McNeil did at North Carolina State. However, he's more of a polished 3-tech than Aleem McNeil was, because you got to remember Aleem McNeil played more nose tackle at NC State than he did defensive tackle. I like the kid. I don't understand why everyone's all up in an uproar about this young man. Young man's blazing fast. He's definitely one of those guys who has a great upside. And I look at this as a pick for now and a pick for long term. Right. Pick for now because Aleem McNeil is not going to be. He's probably going to miss probably 3/4 of the first part of the season, and DJ Reed is going to be here probably through just this year and probably going to be gone the next year. So you look at long term, where you have an older defensive end probably coming to the end of his deal at expiring contract, and you have a guy who's not going to be there, and you bring in a guy who kind of plays like him. I mean, I get it. I mean, you look at this draft. This draft class is not very deep in like elite talent. Right. You talked about on this show. You got about out of the first 15 picks after that, the kind of the talent pool kind of just goes together. So like people say, well, he's the second round pick. In this draft, the talent pool, 28 is a second round pick.
Right.
I mean, you look at the Giants coming back to take Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is not a first round draft pick quarterback. None of the quarterbacks picked this year would have been the first round pick last year. The talent pool isn't that deep this year. I mean, it's a lot of bunched up guys. You're going to see a lot of guys that are bunched up tonight at the top of the second round, where you look at guys, I'm looking at and I don't understand why Lions fans are in an uproar that we didn't take a Mike Green or a James Pierce or even a Jahad Campbell. I'm going to ask you.
What do you think what they gave up for James Pierce in the trade?
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, well, is that accurate?
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question, Dan, because I even talked about today on our show. We actually did a tape show today, no live today. Has the Lions ever drafted a pass rusher in the top of the draft that was not 260 pounds and above? Have they ever taken less than 260 pounds? So you're talking about these guys that's 250 pounds and below. Have they ever taken an undersized defensive end at the top of the draft? No,
not with this regime. No.
The only guy that they drafted that was a pass rusher that was small was James Houston.
Right.
That's it.
So
they've learned from that mistake.
Yeah, I mean, we all get it. Anytime you make a selection, especially the first round, this team, you're going to have some fans that like it, some that are meh, while others were probably looking like this.
Oh my!
That's live video feed from some fans last night. So
I look at this. You got to look at the Detroit Lions and how Brad Holmes has built this line and built the team. He started in the trenches out. So you look at all the interior offensive line, defensive line. He's built this team from the interior out. And you have a guy that's going to be missing like Aleem McNeil, you're going to look at the field that void. You look at this edge class, it's not really built for what the Lions do. It's not a deep 4-3 defensive end draft class. It's more of a 3-4 outside linebacker draft class. The Lions do not play a 3-4. They play a 4-3. People talking about, oh, Philly came up and got Jahad Campbell. The Philly plays a 3-4 defense.
Right.
They just do. That's Brad Holmes is never going to draft a player that doesn't fit the scheme of the Lions. It's just not going to happen. So I don't understand why all the uproar, all the whoopity woo, and they didn't do this and they didn't do that. Brad Holmes did what's best for the Lions. I don't care what your mock draft says. We did our mock drafts on the Lions. I thought that the Lions were going to target a defensive tackle in the first round of the draft. Anyway, I thought they were going to pick Grant. Oh yeah, who's that Dolphin you still have in the intro? I don't know who that guy is. But yeah, but you look at the guys that I thought they were going to target. They went earlier in the first round, like Kenneth Grant and Graham. So they had Williams in on a top 30 visit. Is it a surprise that they like this kid? I don't get the fact that everyone's up in an uproar because they took a defensive tackle in the first round. I don't get it. Maybe it's because of the fact that people didn't see the name where he was mocked. There were some people who were mocking Williams in the first round, just not to Detroit. So, yeah, I'm just like this. I'm not like, ooh, we got this guy, and I'm super excited. I'm like, let's wait and see what's going to happen. But I can understand the reason why they picked him.
Just because he's local, having played for the University of Michigan, but you look at the cornerback that fell into the second round. You look at Will Johnson. What are your thoughts? Because Peter Schrager did say, hey, the Lions are going to take him at 28, and everybody's like, man, he's never going to fall that far. In fact, he fell further and still falling. Do you think, man, that knee's that bad, or do you think maybe his just lack of overall speed? Do you think Detroit should go for him?
I like Will Johnson, and Will Johnson is a talented cornerback. I think when he's healthy, he has great speed. I won't say it's not world class, but he has really good speed when he's healthy. I just don't understand. I just don't know. The severity of the injury must be substantial because we haven't seen him on the field. We haven't seen him do anything since probably midway through the season. Like he didn't do the combine. He didn't do the pro day. Like it's got to be something where whoever drafts that kid is not gonna have him probably for the foreseeable future. It's probably gonna be like a JMO type of deal where you get this kid and he's gonna miss the majority of his rookie season just kind of rehab. I think an NFL team can get him healthy, but I'm not sure the Detroit is the place for him. But I mean, if we take him, I would say it would be one of those things where we double dip in the second round to get him.
So here's a thought at you. I was speculating this before you came on. Maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't. But as soon as the pick happened with Tyleik Williams last night, I said to myself, man, they're moving Levi Onwuzurike to the big end. What are your thoughts? Because you look at the Lions' defensive tackle position, it's pretty deep now when Aleem McNeil gets healthy. Do you think there's any potential that one of the guys already on the roster is the starting end opposite Hutch?
Here's what I thought.
Boys.
Yeah, not one of the big guys. Yeah. Here's what I thought. And Jonathan Anton hit right at the park. When I saw that what the Lions did yesterday, and it depends on what happens today, I think that there's going to be a return of a player to this roster that's not on there now. That was there last year. And I think that fact that they just couldn't agree on a contract offer this off season. So I think you may see a guy back in Detroit. He's got a girlfriend that's a rapper in Detroit. So I think we may see a reunion with him and the Lions, because you look at going down, you look at this draft. I don't see a starting caliber defensive end that can come in day one and be a difference maker in this draft that plays in the Lions system. That fits that seam. So
we've got. Hold on. What's that? Kurt Steele's breaking the news right now. Zadarius Smith is going to sign a 3-year deal with Detroit Lions and be the starting end. I think that's not a bad idea, actually. All right, so let's get back to the draft real quick. Day 2, we got rounds 2 and 3. Where do you have the Detroit Lions going from here?
I see the Lions going offensive line. Name that sticks out to me. Thinks Dylan Fairchild out of Georgia. Kind of take a look at that guy, and I think they even double. I think they go get a safety. I think they may get the guy. What's his name? Jonas. What's his first name? Out of Virginia, I believe it's the safety. The Lions are really, really thin at safety outside of the 2 starters. I mean, you have Lawrence Strickland in there, and that's pretty much about it. I mean, you got Iffy's off the roster, so I think the Lions may go safety. And you look at the amount of defensive backs, especially the higher graded ones, they're still on the board. I mean, there's a lot of defensive backs on the board. I mean, you look at this first round of the draft, I don't think it went with like a lot of people thought. It just didn't. And I think that the logjam at the talent level is making this draft kind of loopy, especially at the end of that first round, where it was like you just kind of got guys who were, maybe second round grades, and the guys you thought that were going to be higher draft picks. I think the medicals got a lot of people worried, and they got pushed down the draft board. I mean, and people are going to talk about Campbell going to the Eagles. That guy's going to be. He has 2 significant shoulder injuries, and that's why he almost fell out of the first round. I mean, there's a lot of things that look at this first round of the draft where I'm like, it's head scratching, and I'm like, okay, but I understand why Brad Holmes kind of like, hey, I'm gonna take a guy. He's been durable, and he fits a need, and he's the best player on our board, right? As far as what we want in Detroit.
I know we talked about it briefly earlier. Every GM has their own board. Everybody feels like every pick they make is going to be the right answer. One thing I would say that I've always been happy with Brad Holmes is he doesn't typically overvalue a pick or get emotional for it. Where you look at, and not to bring it up again, but James Pierce Jr., to me, the bag that they gave up for that guy at that pick, when you talk about so many players having a second round grade, I get a year ago, he was potentially the number 1 pick, number 5 pick, yada, yada. But my goodness, at that spot in this draft, giving up all that capital, I mean, I was hoping Detroit would get that because we'd been sitting pretty. What could you say now that you've seen several Brad Holmes trades or drafts, I guess, what would you say are strength and weakness for Brad Holmes?
I think definitely the strength is not overdrafting players in the first part of the draft, like in the early rounds, in like first and second round. I think he's a great a talent evaluator. He gets some steals and some, he's not perfect. He's missed on a couple of like Broderick Martin. I'm not really that great on Manu, but most of his picks, you look at the majority of his picks, he's hit. Look how many all pros and all and Pro Bowlers he's drafted. Yeah, in Detroit. Penei Sewell. Look at the Pro Bowlers from last year. I mean, even you got what's the young fella's name? The running back Gibbs. You look at him, he Pro Bowler, first 2 years. You look at a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, so, 2 All-Pro selections. Same with a guy like Penei Sewell, 2 All-Pro selections. And then you have Kirby Joseph. Now he's the highest paid safety, you know what I'm saying, Pro Bowl selection. And the only reason he's getting gypped from that because of the bad press he's getting from guys like Matthew Stafford and stuff like that. But the people who selected him first team All-Pro know his talent. Guy has ties the NFL record with 17 interceptions at the safety position. The only other player to do that is who? Ed Reed.
Right.
I mean, you look at this guy. I mean, you look at the majority of his picks. He's hit on more picks than he's missed on in the modern era. He's the best GM in the modern era for the Detroit Lions. So, what do I think about Brad Holmes? I think Brad Holmes is really good, and he's a great talent evaluator. People are going to look at, he drafted this guy or that guy. Every draft pick is a really gamble because no one's is guaranteed to be a no. What do you call that? Is this going to be a guy who's make sure he's going to be a surefire pick?
Right.
So, I mean, look how many people were doubting Aiden Hutchinson. They were saying his arms were too short, and this, that, and other thing.
Penei Sewell.
Yeah.
There were doubters on him.
Yeah. Oh, I was ecstatic about Penei Sewell. And the one player that he drafted that I was ecstatic about and the people were just tripping on was Jahmyr Gibbs. I was like, have you watched this kid's tape? I mean, I was looking at this kid and I was like, this kid is an absolute monster. So watching him at Georgia Tech and watching him at Alabama, and people were just like, oh man, this pick sucks. Guess what? Yeah. And I just saw the SOL crowd just kind of like crazy last night. They were talking bad about Jack Campbell. Oh, Jack Campbell sucks. He's just all right. Like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Are you watching the same Jack Campbell getting better each guy led the team in tackles last year? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, he's not perfect. He has some holes in his game, but that kid's a good player. And you look at what's going on in Detroit and how they're building this team. They're building it for a sustainable success and not just a flash in the pan.
So real quick, and then I know you got to get out of here and stuff, but just want to get your thoughts on this. I talked about it briefly on the show. When you think about when the Lions made the trade from 6 a couple years ago, went down to 12, got the Gibbs and Laporta, the NFL was really in a spot where they were like, hey, we'll spend, day 3 picks on running backs or maybe day 2 picks, but nobody was drafting the first round. But after the Gibbs pick, it seems like the NFL has been changed by the Detroit Lions. You've seen the success of what we're doing, and now you're seeing, once again, teams select running backs, linebackers in first round. Is that really a credit to this organization?
I think so. I think that they're looking at I think the league is kind of switching back to more they're going to look at value in the running back position just because of the fact that the teams that have been winning Super Bowls have had great running games, in the past few years. So success is coming from the running game, and you got the control of the line of scrimmage is becoming part of the game again. And you're not seeing all this spread offenses. You're seeing more and more teams lining it up. And Detroit is one of those teams that has a great offensive line and want to run the ball. So I think that the Lions are definitely more on the cutting edge of making sure they have positional value with the running back.
All right. He is the host of the most. He is the man with the plan. He is the man who hosts and leads the Boss Up, Ball Up podcast. If you haven't gone over and checked him out, please do so. But Kurt the Hitman Steele, go ahead and give yourself a shout out. And always, man, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. Great to be here. We have a show this morning, tape show with myself, Coach, and LL, talking about the draft picks, man, over on the Boss Up Ball Out podcast over on on YouTube. So make sure you come check us out this morning, man. We're gonna have a live chat going on. So, and it's just one of those things. So, everyone looking around and just get your popcorn ready and get ready and sit back and just enjoy the rest of this draft.
Get your popcorn ready, as Brad Holmes said. So, hey, let's see what happens. Kurt, as always, man, have a great day, and thanks for coming on over.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, man. Take it easy, SOL crowd out there, and life's going to be okay.
All right, let's get back to the Duke Crew comments section. Creative idea. Hey, good to see you, man. It's been a hot minute. We are cut DJ Reed and save $12 million this year for Hutch and JMO. Let's go. Let's see if that's what they do. My guess is, Creative, that we keep them this year. Then, just let the contract expire. We'll see, though. Dr. Detroit, this is a 9, maybe 10 win team. We'll find out. Derek, people talk about moving up or down like it's just a matter of choice. It's not. You have to have a willing trade partner. Correct. Perhaps there was no trade available. Yeah, my opinion, Derek, and I know I said it a few times earlier, once the trade happened with the Rams and the other trades literally just before us, I get the Ravens did it, but the 2 or 3 picks just before us, I didn't figure there was much ammunition left for somebody to come up with us unless somebody was going to go for maybe Sanders or something. Obviously, that didn't come to fruition. Dynamite, y'all love mediocrity? Let's hope not, man. Let's hope not. Dynamite, I agree with Dr. D. Silver Coach, when you get a chance, take a look at Jarez Hunter, our Auburn halfback, his highlights. I'd like to know what you think. I love that runner. Would not want the Bears to have him either. All right, Jim, we'll get the biggest, fastest, healthiest defensive line available. Hey, let's keep the D healthy for once. Dr. Detroit, nobody trusts Brad drafting defense line because he's hit on 2 out of 7 so far. Let that sink in. You might be right with that, D or Dr. Detroit. Eric Grant went in the top 15, but knew was going defensive tackle. I didn't know why people didn't see it coming. Correct with that. Creative idea. Going to cut DJ Reed, saving $12 million for Hutch and JMO. All right. Amy, good morning. Dan, the Duke Crew, exclamation point. Happy day after the first draft day. Do you think since they now have Tyleik, this will stop Z from returning to the team? No, different positions. I'm thinking that he has a pretty good chance to return. Dr. Detroit says, let's see. Josh, any trade going to happen to tonight or tomorrow afternoon? We'll find out. I do not know of any currently. Andrew, we just won 15 games without Hutchinson. We already got the players we need to win the Super Bowl. I would say, if healthy, we all probably agree last year the Lions would have went to the Super Bowl or at least had a real good chance to do it. We weren't healthy. You know what? You're trying to make this team even stronger. Non-laughers, in your opinion, Z-Boom is coming back. I like the way you're thinking. Shamir, PFF gave him a good grade. This is true. Motor City Pauly, this D line can stop the Philly tush push. They might be trying to do just that. Jeremy P, I hate that Brad doesn't pick on needs. Lions need an edge for the past 4 years. Yeah, let's see what they do. I mean, that's the hard part. We've got 1 pick. We've got all these other picks left. Let's see what the team does from here. Dynamite, Brad Holmes said them JMO rumors are lies. Yeah, he did say that. Pastor Ben, good morning. Coach Dan, listen, it's the info we're not privy to. Trust the process. Plus, this guy is a monster. Plus a 4.6840. Wow. Watch a few. Yes, go Lions. I'm done with that. Next, Thornton. There you go. Sign service. Server. Remember, you have to think you will not have Aleem. That is probably why he lost weight to facilitate his recovery. Less weight on the knee. Yeah, could be a contributing factor for sure. J.K. Brad not going to tell the fans the truth. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, they're not going to give out inside information. Information does get out, but it's not going to come from the main source. Jeremy B, I prefer Landon Jackson over Nick Thornton. A lot of people do. There's a few people in the comment section that would agree with you. Bill, everyone hating on the pick really means to say, quote, based on my bit of knowledge, I was surprised that all-knowing Brad went in a different direction than I would have. Yeah, 100% accurate. One funky, 2 weeks ago, Kirby Joseph was about to be traded. Rumors are too funny this time of the year. Yeah, that's why I always try to say, man, take them all with a grain of salt. Anymore, I think we get a end to develop, and Z Smith gives us a team-friendly contract. I hope so. David, he's a Aleem 2.0. That wouldn't be bad. Silver, Josiah Stewart is sought by Detroit. I would not be surprised the Lions trade up to get him. Trenches have been going away fast. They have been. JK, I still believe no players team is safe. No, nobody is ever safe. Frank the Tank, what up, Duke Crew East Side? Woo! Go Lions. Ezra Gray, I see Levi being an edge only this year. Correct. He's on a 1-year deal. Maybe he does something there. I wouldn't be sad about it. Trim Reaper, I was going to grab Campbell, but with Aleem out for the first quarter of the season, I get it. Yeah, it's probably part of the reasoning. Frank Thing, I love Detroit Lions pick Williams, just like I always said, stuff that run, go Lions. Yeah, make teams as one-dimensional as you can. Don Kong, Brad is the best GM in football. I would say he's the best Lions GM for sure. Whether or not he's the best in the NFL, I mean, leave that up to further debate. Frank Tank, skip everybody. I'm just going with that so I can power through. Now talk about somebody I haven't seen in a minute. MIG, there you go. All balls, no D. Brent, skip the Bears. There we go. JDC, Puff, woo, Coffee, and Lions Talk Live. Scott, I don't know how Edge isn't a big as of a need. We had 0 sacks on Daniels in this past year's playoff game. We lost. It was a glaring weakness. They got exposed. Even Stevie Wonder could see that. I concur, Scott. Derek, he's going to be better than Aleem. All right. JK's second round going to be fun. I think so too, man. Don Kong, Brad is the best. Exclamation point. Brad is awesome. If you like him, you like him. Look at you. Morning, my brother Anthony T. Hope I'm glad we're right. Oh yeah, Bo. How many injuries did the defense did we have in the Washington game again? Yeah, we had you're testing my memory here, but I want to say we had 18, 19 players on IR, and then the start of the game, obviously Robertson and play 2 or 3 went down and out. Jason in Brooklyn, let them not hell yeah, great pick, Brad. I'm down with that. Silver Coach, have you been saying trenches? And trenches has been correct. Frank Tank, one pride, all grit, believe, go Lions. I believe in the team. I have to, man. I'm a fan. Don Kong, whatever Brad does is the best decision ever. There'll be some that say that. JK, trade Batman. Ooh, now you're talking crazy. Dynamite, because Kurt, we need them. Let's be real. We do need them. All right, Brad is messed up, period. Don Kong, I hope we get an interior offensive line next, baby. I would say that's probably one of the areas you're looking at. That or maybe edge. I'd say Central Scrutinizer, Brad and Dan know what they're doing, and we can only guess. I trust the Lions staff to keep them team competitive. I like it. Thomas, hey, I'll go with this pick because of Brad and Dan. I'll have to, but I don't see it. We'll see. Jeremiah P. Brad is going to fumble again. He is going to get an offensive line before an edge. Maybe. Thomas totally surprised me. I thought for sure we'd trade back. They probably tried to, but like we've said, man, once a few picks went off the board, a few trades, probably made it tough. Rad Love, what do you got? Move up and get Nick Scorton? Maybe they do. James Houston might have been small, but he was 240 pounds and 34-inch arms and all the rest. I think Glenn really did not use him properly. Could be true, Silver. Dynamite, you mean Brad drafted Broderick Martin? He did draft Broderick Martin. Thomas Surfer, I agree 100%. Victor, I guess Williams could be better than Reader, but need a second defensive edge more. There were better picks available. Linebacker from Alabama and Philly should have been our guy. There you go. JK, heard if he's still injured. Oh, could be, man. Ludo, what do you got? Jack Sawyer? Maybe. I wanted a first-round defensive end. Wait until next for a kid named LT Overton from Bama. All right? Bill, everyone hating on the pick really means to say, based on my little bit of knowledge, correct. Yeah, I'm down with that. Michael, in your opinion, 1 second, he's like the draft is deep, then states the pool is talented. Isn't talented, but I don't understand why we're upset. We'll find out, man. You give the kid time. At this point, he's a Lion, so we'll love him or hate him. Yeah, I'm just cheering for him. Dynamite, y'all love mediocre? Let's hope not, man. As 411, Eagles defense is scary. They're athletic for sure. Keyshawn Irvin, what do you got? We got an elite defensive tackle. You guys will see. I hope so, man. JDC, I am just a fan. Well, there you go. Jerry, people calling for Brad to be fired for 1 pick is insane. We have some terrible fans, some of the best and definitely some of the worst. Oh, all the above. You got a good mixture. Eastside Detroit, Tyleik, he started 25 of 51 games and racked up 136 combined tackles, 28 tackles for losses. Yes, he did, man. Ludell, speed kills on defense too. You're not wrong. One funky. This draft is deep with starters, not stars. All right. The 411, McNeil health. This is true. And see, Andrew, trust in Brad. He built the best team we've ever had, and people are doubting him. Hey, just par for the course, right? Thomas, solid defensive tackle, more than likely, yes, but a first rounder, I don't think so. I'm praying I'm wrong. Yeah, I think at this point, all you can do is pray that we get the best out of him. Reader health, correct, 411. Gary, got to get offensive line, man, that can play multiple positions. I'll go with that. Earl, I'm happy with the pick. Go Lions. Good to see you, Earl. It's been a minute. Lent T, I like the pick so far. I'd be happy if all draft picks were interior linemen, offense and defense. Maybe pick up a skill position, undrafted free agent. There you go. Ludell, because Broderick was a bust. He has been a bust, man. Not as far as cornerback. I don't. If you don't run at 4.5 minimum, I'm not drafting you. There you go. Motown, pretty sure I'm not the Lions took a defense tackle. It's that where the defensive tackle came from. Ohio kids are legendary stupid. Just don't ask where the ball players be smart. Okay. David, I love Will Johnson, but he has a huge red flags. Yes, he does right now, man. Unfortunately for the kid. Don Kong, Aleem won't be available to the end of November. Remember that. We're marking it down. Fogo, good morning, everyone. Back at you. 411, McNeil probably miss 8 games next season and come back. Yeah. Hopefully he comes back right as rain. Dynamite, Lions not winning the Super Bowl. Let's hope they do. JDC, way too many variables in life. Always true. 411, you got it, Donkey. Mary, all smiles if Z comes back for the defensive end. Let's hope he doesn't. There seems to be corroborating evidence of that. JK, let's flipping go. Great Lakes. If Martin couldn't learn from there you go. Ludell, number 44, Ohio State. Great Lakes. Learned from the best defensive line coach in the league. He's not going to learn from Ohio State player. No. He's going to figure it out on his own. Mogo, please bring Z back. Is that official breaking news? No, it's not. No, it is not. It's speculation at this point. What can do? I would love to if they brought Z back. Me too, man. Me too. Thomas, if we don't resign Zedarius, it would be Levi at the end. I don't know who else can play there regularly as a backup. Well, we'll find out if maybe Davenport. Andrew, could see Jack Sawyer and Josiah Stewart tonight. Could be. Don Kong, I actually broke the news with Zedarius. I personally guaranteed to the fans like him, you're welcome. Hey, thank you very much for that. JDC, anyone at or going to the draft? I don't know about tonight. Thomas, also, the pick from me, I believe everyone else, Broderick, is gone. Yeah, probably true. JK, Z gets signed after draft, I see. Miami. Jonas Stanks, all right, sign service. 411, the Lions played 3-4 defense. Would be Jack Campbell, Barnes, Anzalone, and other Campbell. Correct. Lazy Link, I hope Brad drafts Kyler Kennard at edge. That would make me feel better about the first pick. Yeah, wait and see. That's what I'm saying, Lazy Link. Wait and see what the full draft reveals. JDC, Magic 8 Ball says, bring the NFL draft back to Detroit. Let's see if they can. JDC, Lambeau Field, home of the Lamers. 411, inside Chris Spielman, pick Tyleik Williams. Could be the correlation there. Gary, Kurt Steele, Ivy needs a little coaching, but I would say start day 1, maybe. Great Lakes, McNeil, ACL out until week 8 or at least. Reader is 45 years old. Wingo, ACL. We don't have a choice. We need to take defensive tackle. Yeah, don't forget about Makai Wingo can play end too. Don Kong, JDC, are you going? ? I haven't gone yet. We didn't want to stand. Chose to recliner. All right, get the recliner, man. Motown Mitch, Holmes does not draft for needs. Stop it. Yeah, he goes with best. Hey, Vape, good to see you, man. It's been a minute. Good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke crew. Ready for the season to start. Let's go. Woo! Back at you. Great Lakes, Josiah Stewart is better than Zedarius Smith. Are you others still available? He's not coming back. Maybe. 411, you got Great Lakes. JK, there's no such thing. Needs in the NFL, just actors. All right, I'll go with that. David, before Brad, 90% of our picks were Broderick Martins. We have the top draft in 23, and everyone wants to focus on the misses. No one hits every pick. No, nobody bats 1,000. 4-1, you got it. Great Lakes, JDC, Don Kong. No, I'm with you. Recliner, there you go. Chad the historian, just wanting to see what happens when Hooker goes to New Orleans. We'll find out, man. JK, after studying, so where is Dolo Dynamite? He's been in the chat a lot this morning, man. 4-1, Brad is moving up and taking Green from Marshall. Book it. Now, I think that would, I don't know if it'll happen, but I think a lot of Lions fans would be jumping up and down if that happened. JC, wash, rinse, repeat. Lazy Link, Brad is feeling like pressure to get an edge today. Maybe. I doubt if he feels the pressure, though, but maybe he does. Trevor Raver, smash that like button. Hit all the buttons. Don Kong, Brad feels no pressure. I'm down with that. Andrew, want to be surprised if Brad double dipped on edge tonight. I actually thought in my final mock draft, that's what we would do. Don Kong, expect wide receiver or guard. 411, Shadur at 40 or 44 to New Orleans. There you go. David, I don't think he feels pressure either. Me either, man. Silver man, I have to admit, the names you make up are really great. You should be movie industry. Dolo Dynamite, almost as good as Wayne Ratchell. Okay. Brad goes offense second round, maybe. JC Magic 8 Ball says, injury gods be nice, please. There you go. Don Kong, wide receiver or guard, round 2 or 3. Fair enough. See, Great Lakes, if Moline was healthy, we would have taken a DE, I'm sure. He's not. We were forced into the pick. The guy is very athletic. I look forward to seeing him play. Me too. Ken, Tyleik is a good pick for the second round. Sorry, Brad was not best available, but just chasing need to cover for Broderick Martin mistake. Judd Campbell was the best available. Don Kong, let's flipping go. There you go. Get the pick a C. All right, give the pick a C. There you go. A+ with the pick. All right, my opinions will vary. All right, guys, in the little overtime here, so I'm just going to kind of power through, get some people who haven't been on as much. Eric, it was good pick. People acting like the draft is over after one night. The second and third rounds have a lot of good players left. You are correct with that. Mary, what time is the draft start today? Well, I say 7 o'clock. Central Scrutinizer, 7 p.m., Mary. Let's see, 6 Central. There you go, Mary. Just watch the tape on T. Williams. Yeah, he's a man out there. Man, he's a man child. The same old Lions people are never happy no matter what you do or always say. Okay, Eddie's Fish. I would like to see the Lions bring in Megatron to coach GMO as the mentor to him. Maybe they will, man. That's not a bad idea. Ron Love, Green, Scorton, or Stewart on day 2. Could be. JK, today? Yes, it is today. Sarge, greetings, salutations, all. Happy JMO sign. There you go. Has he signed? Maybe I missed something. Ken, we still need to replace Zettler, was our second best offensive lineman last year. Yes, he was, man. And we are getting a little bit older in some spots on the line. Jason in Brooklyn, let's go. Woo! Back at you, JDC. Woo! JDC, happy trails. Go Lions victory. 313, Jordan Bunch in the second round. Let's go. Let's see if they go with him. Manfred Vogel, I know people might not love the pick last night, but forget Brad drafted St. Brown in round 4, Kirby in round 3, first round pick. They disagree is way too soon to panic. Yeah, don't panic. Yeah, 100%. Corey, Ken, no, we don't. There you go. Bo, happy trails, Dude Crew. All that does this. See you tonight. We'll see you then. Lent T, this is going to be the whiniest fan base in football. No, all fan bases are like this, man. Nick, I thought he said he and Dan never did that discussion. Yeah, maybe he did. If he did, maybe I missed it. I apologize if I missed it, man. 100%. Let's see. Josh, sign Smith to Detroit by today afternoon before the draft. Let's see if they do. Brian, I like what Brad does. But I really hate what he doesn't do. Edge is our biggest need for 2 years' time to double down, draft, and Z-Force. There you go. A couple others here. Eric Samuel is crying. Yeah, could be. Derek, I just don't see the desperate need for an edge. Do we need one? Yes. Are we desperate? No. Trump's, see, douchebags crying on the river. All right. Well, everybody's crying. Let's see, Lent with Nick. Let's see, Will Johnson, a lot of injuries, right? Yeah, it seems that's why people are backing off him, at least for right now. Phil, people are crazy. It's a game. Let the guys who get paid make the decisions. All right. Lent T, I hear you, Phil. Yeah, 100%. They probably know more than most of us. Mike Green was available. We didn't take him. No, we didn't. No, we did not. David, why did every team pass on Green? I personally think it's just his mass, his size. You know, I get he's fast. I can do some stuff. I do think with his hand placements and stuff, he gets owned and loses leverage a lot. Let's see, C-Web. Anyone watch Lions Syndicate last night? Holy bejesus. No, I did not. I was actually at Western Michigan University watching, Tyson. What's his name? Oh, gosh, the astrophysicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Let's see, C-Web. Anyone? No, I did not. Trump's, how can anyone say Broderick's a bust? He hasn't even been on the field. Hopefully he gets on the field this year. Derek, the kid could absolutely steal McNeil's starting job. Maybe. Dynamite, I am right here. There you go. Good to see you, my friend. Kerry, happy trails, Duke Crew. Nick, we still need an edge. Lent T, same reason no one picked Green. There you go. John G, great pick. Going to be better than McNeil. Watch and enjoy. I'm going to watch. JDC, Coach, my guess is that you could read a book in half the time. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get you guys on here. Trim Reaper, have a great day. Coach and Duke Crew. Woo! Back at you. A vape. It started at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. There you are. Let's see. Trim Reaper. Let's go, Lions. Oh, yeah. JDC. Woo! Eddie Tyleik was ranked second best defensive tackle behind Graham. He played like a bigger McNeil. There you go. JK, next year. Let's see. Great Lakes. Is it crazy how Philly always does it in the draft like they never miss? No, they've done a pretty good job of stuff. Trim Reaper Syndicate was talking about with his hands clapping, annoyed me. I turned out. All right. JC, time's up. Go home. Well, pretty soon here. Let T, seriously, who in this draft would make us better? It only one game changer in the entire draft, Travis Hunter. All right, guys, if there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. Otherwise, before you check on out, if you could be so kind, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, hit all the buttons. Hey, take care. Enjoy your day. Be a kind human being. Do something kind for someone you don't know. And we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.
Excuse me, sir. Would you... Donations to the Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? How Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?